Most men have it backwards. They think if a woman is attracted, she'll smile more, flirt openly, or make it painfully obvious. But here's the reality. When a woman truly feels something, more often than not, she'll hide it. Not because she doesn't want you to know, but because she doesn't want to risk being exposed. Female psychology is layered, emotional, yet calculated. She may crave your attention, but instead of moving closer, she pulls back. Instead of confessing, she conceals. And if you're blind to these patterns, you'll misread her silence as indifference and walk away from something real without even knowing it. Women do this with purpose. Attraction makes them vulnerable, and vulnerability is risk. Risk of looking too eager, risk of rejection, risk of losing control. That's why instead of being direct, she sends signals in disguise. Small adjustments in body language, hidden flashes of emotion, and quiet actions that are easy to miss unless you know what to look for. This is where most men fail. They take her words at face value, mistake her restraint for disinterest, and back off while she's silently waiting to be understood. But once you learn to decode the unspoken, her behavior stops being confusing. You'll start to see the patterns for what they are, her way of showing she's into you without ever saying it out loud. And when you recognize these signs, you step into a position of clarity and power. When a woman is trying to hide her attraction, the first battlefield is always her eyes. She might carefully guard her words, keep her tone controlled, and even put up a wall of indifference in her behavior, but her eyes will refuse to play along. The truth of desire slips through in fleeting glances, in the hesitation between looking at you and looking away, in that subtle delay that lasts a fraction of a second too long. It's almost like her pupils are caught in a tug-of-war between logic and instinct. Logic whispers to her, "Don't make it obvious. Don't let him know," but instinct pulls her eyes back toward you, like a magnet that keeps dragging her attention where she doesn't want it to be exposed. Think about this. Most people can control what they say, but very few can control the tiny shifts in their gaze. When she lingers on you, even for a moment, and then quickly diverts her eyes as if she was never looking, that is not a random chance. That is her attraction trying to break through the mask of restraint. Sometimes you'll notice her scanning your face as though she's memorizing details she doesn't want to admit she cares about. She might look at your lips when you talk, then instantly force herself to glance away as if caught in a forbidden act. Those are silent betrayals of interest, moments when her inner world leaks into the physical one. What makes this so powerful is that the eyes communicate on a level beyond words. While words can be manipulated, eyes reveal emotion in its rawest form. If you ever notice that she looks at you when she thinks you're not paying attention, or her gaze finds you across a room only to vanish the second you notice, that is where her hidden truth lives. It is not always about bold staring. Often, it's the quiet, stolen looks that carry the deepest meaning. She might pretend her feelings don't exist, but the spark in her eyes exposes the very thing she's working so hard to conceal. When attraction is present, but being concealed, it rarely shows in words. It shows in energy. A woman may try to present herself as neutral, detached, or unaffected, but the rhythm of her body betrays her. Pay attention long enough, and you'll notice how her presence shifts around you compared to others. Her posture softens, her tone lightens, and her attention sharpens without her even realizing it. She leans slightly closer when you speak, not in an obvious way, but enough that the invisible space between you feels different. That leaning is not about comfort, it's about curiosity, about her subconscious reaching forward while her conscious mind tries to hold her back. Mirroring is another hidden signal that often slips through when feelings are being disguised. You cross your arms, and moments later, she does the same. You lean back, and she unconsciously follows. This isn't mimicry for the sake of imitation. It's a psychological alignment that happens when two energies are in sync. Even if she's trying to keep her emotions under wraps, her body naturally aligns with yours because attraction creates a pull that logic cannot suppress. The tone of her voice also shifts. Around others, she may speak in her normal rhythm, but with you, her words carry more softness, more warmth, even a subtle musicality. She might laugh at things that aren't truly funny, or her pitch may lift ever so slightly, giving away excitement she doesn't want you to catch. Energy is not always about grand gestures. It's about those minor, almost invisible adjustments that happen when someone's guard is up, but their emotions are alive. What stands out most is consistency. If you notice these subtle changes happening not once, but every time you interact, it's not a coincidence. It's an attraction trying to speak through movements, gestures, and tones that she hasn't fully mastered hiding. Her mind may be trained to suppress her feelings, but her energy betrays her by making her body lean in when it should lean away, by softening her words when she wants to stay indifferent, by reflecting your movements as if to quietly say, "I feel what you feel, even if I don't want to show it." When a woman tries to conceal her feelings, she rarely admits it through words, but jealousy has a way of slipping through the cracks. It often arrives quietly, wrapped in subtle reactions that she hopes you won't notice. She may sit calmly, smiling as if everything is under control, yet the moment another woman steps into your space, something shifts. Her tone becomes sharper, her expression harder, or her silence heavier. It's not always dramatic, but it's enough to reveal that beneath the mask of indifference, there's an emotional storm she's fighting to hide. Sometimes it shows in humor, small remarks that appear casual on the surface but carry a hidden edge, a playful jab about the attention you're giving someone else, a sarcastic comment that seems light but is laced with irritation. Other times, it's in the quiet withdrawal, when her energy suddenly cools after she watches you interact with another woman. She may not even realize it herself, but her emotions betray her attempt at control. These aren't random shifts in mood. They are the fingerprints of jealousy, and jealousy is never born from neutrality. Even her body language speaks louder than she intends. The crossing of arms, the sudden stiffness, the subtle avoidance of eye contact when another woman is around, all of these are small shields she puts up in the heat of insecurity. She may not want to compete openly, but the shift is her unconscious way of staking silent territory. It's not about claiming you directly. It's about the fear of losing a connection she hasn't even admitted exists. What makes this form of jealousy so telling is that it doesn't come with a confession. It comes in fragments, in the little ways she distances herself or tries to pull you closer without words. The very fact that she reacts at all is proof of investment. If there were no attraction, no unspoken attachment, she would remain unaffected. But the hidden tension in her mood, the subtle changes in her behavior, and the quiet resistance she shows when someone else takes your attention reveal more than she ever intends to say aloud. When a woman is drawn to someone but doesn't want that truth to be seen, an internal war begins. Logic becomes her shield, whispering that she must stay composed, keep things casual, and reveal nothing that might make her vulnerable. Emotion, on the other hand, pushes from beneath the surface, urging her to connect, to show, to let her guard slip. This constant tension plays out in the way she interacts, leaving behind a trail of contradictions that speak louder than a direct confession ever could. One of the most common signs of this battle is teasing. She may joke with you more than she does with others, throwing out playful challenges or small tests to see how you respond. To her logic, it's harmless banter that keeps her feelings hidden, but her emotions are using humor as a way to stay close. That teasing is not rejection. It's the middle ground between staying safe and revealing too much. She cloaks her interest in playfulness, but the consistency of her attention betrays what she's really feeling. At times, the struggle between logic and emotion shows up as mixed signals. She might engage deeply in conversation one moment, then suddenly pull back the next, creating confusion. To someone unaware, it may look like disinterest, but it's really hesitation born from her attempt to silence her own emotions. Her heart leans in, her mind pulls back, and you're left watching the push and pull of attraction she doesn't want to expose. There are also subtle tests embedded in her behavior. She may casually challenge your opinions, not because she disagrees, but because she wants to see if you'll stand firm or fold. Emotionally, she's drawn in and seeking reassurance of your strength. Logically, she frames it as simple conversation. Every test she throws is a way of engaging while pretending she's not emotionally invested. This battle rarely looks dramatic. Instead, it's a quiet tension woven into her words, her tone, and her actions. Logic tells her to keep control, to guard herself from rejection. Emotion whispers through in teasing, in challenges, in the small slips that reveal care. And between those two forces, she creates a pattern of behavior that only makes sense when you recognize it for what it truly is: interest wrapped in resistance. When a woman feels drawn to someone but doesn't want to openly show it, she rarely makes direct moves. Instead, she creates openings. Small, seemingly casual opportunities for connection that can be easily dismissed as coincidence. On the surface, these gestures appear ordinary, but beneath them is a hidden intention, a quiet signal of interest she hopes won't be too obvious. She might send a random text with no real purpose, something as simple as asking about your day or sharing a small detail about hers. To an outsider, it looks like normal conversation, but in truth, it's her way of reaching out without having to admit why. Often these invitations come in the form of unnecessary questions. She may ask for your opinion on things she doesn't really need help with. Or she might forget details you know she already remembers, just so she can start another interaction. These are not accidents. They are carefully disguised attempts to prolong contact. Her logic tells her not to reveal her interest, but her emotions create excuses to stay connected. Each question, each little message, is a thread she's weaving to keep herself tied to you while pretending it's nothing. Physical presence is another way these silent invitations appear. She finds reasons to be near you, whether it's sitting closer than she needs to, showing up where she knows you'll be, or lingering in spaces longer than necessary. None of it is announced as interest, but the pattern is unmistakable. She positions herself within your reach, creating chances for interaction while maintaining the illusion of casualness. even her timing speaks volumes. She might reach out late at night when most people are quiet, or she may contact you at random intervals just to keep herself on your radar. These patterns are not random. They are her way of feeding a connection without crossing the line into vulnerability. Unspoken invitations are powerful because they blur the line between friendship and attraction. They allow her to protect herself from rejection while still sending signals to see if you'll respond. Beneath every unnecessary message, every small question, every carefully orchestrated coincidence is the same hidden truth, her interest trying to make itself known without ever being declared aloud.